I'll be very honest with you. I can remember almost on a daily basis when I was working, thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I cannot wait till I don't have to do this anymore and I can just do whatever I want to do. I don't have anybody telling me where I need to be, when I need to be there, and so on. I always tell people now when they're getting ready to retire or they're thinking about retirement, be sure you have a plan in place, because that whole I can do whatever I want thing, that lasts about 45 days. My vision for retirement was I was just going to sit around and read, because I really enjoy reading, and maybe do some traveling or whatever, but I had no concept whatsoever of ever going back to school. For years and years and years, had this idea of a novel that I wanted to write, and I just kind of carried it around in my brain, working on it a little bit here and there, but I never actually put pencil to paper to start writing it. So I thought, okay, now I'm retired, I got time, I'm going to write this novel. So I sat down and I started to think about how I wanted to put down what I knew I wanted to write. But what I realized very quickly in the process was that I didn't have a clue on how to actually write it, how to start writing it. So I thought, okay, well, there's a university over there. I've got time. I'll go over and take a creative writing course over there. And I did that. And about halfway through that course, there was a section on poetry. Almost from the very first day that we started talking about poetry and studying it a little bit, I just fell in love. I really literally fell in love with it. And I remember coming home and talking to Carol, and I said, you know what? I think I want to try and go back and get that degree and learn as much about this stuff as I can. I hadn't been in school and hadn't sat in a classroom for probably close to 40 years. So you begin to wonder, and you know, the older you get, sometimes the ability to recollect things as quickly as you once did starts to slide a little bit. And so you wonder, is this something that I'm going to be able to do successfully? Is this something that I'm going to be able to do at the level that I want to be able to do it? And it turns out, worked out pretty well. I was pretty much able to hold my own. All I know is when I write poetry, there's a process. And that whole process, it literally is something that I can feel building in me. And then all of a sudden, it's like I'll start thinking about, I heard this phrase the other day, or I read this phrase the other day, or something's going on in the news. And most of my poetry is geared towards social issues and things like that. And so that's where it comes from. And you can almost feel it. Like I said, it's hard to explain what happens, but it's like I lose almost a sense of perception of where I am even. I mean, it's that strong sometimes. And I'll start writing and it just comes to me, and oh my gosh, I wish I could call it anytime I wanted to, but I can't. But when it happens, it is so special. It is just the most amazing feeling. I had mentioned earlier that the poetry section of the creative writing class was kind of the thing that got me started on the poetry. And we were given an assignment, and I don't know if it was the professor just messing with my head or what he was trying to do to me, but he wanted me to write a constrained poem. So my constraints were that I had to write a poem that was exactly 50 lines long. Each line had to be exactly 3 words. It had to be about an emotion, but I was not able to name the emotion. And just for kicks and grins, he threw in I needed to have 6 slant rhymes, which are rhymes, words that look like they should rhyme, but they don't. So, okay, now keep in mind, I've never written a poem in my entire life. So, all right, I'm gonna do this thing. So I went home and I sat in my office, and it took me about an hour to come up with something. But this is what I wrote. And it's entitled An Unnamed Emotion, because again, I'd never written a poem before and I didn't know how to title them. So this was supposed to be about an unnamed emotion. So that sounds like a good title. Once came laughter from my daughter. Now comes pain. Of average height, slightly underweight, beautiful smiles shone, no longer there. Replaced by mood that wasn't good, like pouring rain. I ask again, what caused this? I don't know. Watched my doll become a troll, more like death unmarked by wreath. I tried understanding, perhaps not enough. In the end, we were strangers. She would say, I'm not loved, and wasn't moved. Dark feelings abound, an open wound, hollow pangs, emptiness. Her cries always, no more please, it hurts so. Still she fought best she could. How to help, I didn't know. Uncontrollably spiraling down, no end sighted. Will this end? God, I hope so. Is there hope? Always, you say. Hope is love, and love is hope. Are those enough? If not, what? Nothing, you see. In the end, her demons won. She's all gone. I'm so alone. That was my first shot at poetry. And I'll never forget when I read that in class. There was a young lady sitting behind me. And when I finished, she said that while I was reading it and she was listening to it, she just got chills from it. And that was kind of like the hook. I thought if I have, for whatever reason, the ability to make people feel something or to move people's emotions with what I write, that's what I want to do.